a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, you know, sometimes. And
But Lee looked me in my eyes. He said, no coach.
Do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship.
Bryshere Gray's entry into showbiz wasn't all glitz and glam. Nope, it was tangled up in drama from the get-go. Rumor has it, he faced misuse and mistreatment, and even got mixed up with some sketchy older folks who allegedly took advantage of him. And get this, whispers say his so-called mentors, like Lee Daniels, were up to more than just giving career advice.
Mills, Bryshere Gray, left that house screaming. August the only one that's...
From being on the path to making thousands of dollars every day to zeroing out on everything by going to jail twice, Bryshere Gray has experienced it all. Bryshere Yazwin Gray is better known by his stage name, Yaz the Greatest. Yet he has expanded his status beyond that. Gray is now widely recognized as one of many unfortunate romantic targets of these Hollywood elites. According to Gray himself, his career was going wonderfully until he met Lee Daniels and Will Smith, at which point it took a turn for the worse. So, when rumors finally began to circulate that he was allegedly involved with Will Smith, Bryshere's career took turns in all the wrong ways. Of course, Will and Jada Pinkett, his wife, have a highly open relationship in which both of them are comfortable discussing their emotions with members of the other gender, so it doesn't really come off as a surprise if Bryshere was also one of the many men Will was romantically involved with. You may also not be aware of this, but Jaguar Wright has really discussed this topic on podcasts and YouTube a lot, where she has dissed Will and Jada Pinkett Smith for ruining young artists by initially taking them under their wing for some supposed mentorship program, and later on exploiting them in other ways. Anyway, Gray's career took a huge plunge after he was involved in this bizarre affair with Will Smith, which led to him finally going under depression and getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And honestly, you only need to look at what happened with Diddy to see that Hollywood isn't always sympathetic to relationships that don't fit the typical template. So it should not come as a shock that after whatever transpired with Will Smith, Gray lost his charisma, and things began to go from bad to worse for him in the entertainment industry. And we are all aware of how Hollywood may behave at times. Unfortunately, Gray's career took a significant hit when things did not go according to plan. And on top of that, the effect it had on his attitude made things much worse. Even more, it caused him to burn all the bridges of survival himself. In any case, for some years now, Hollywood has been filled with industry gatekeepers who take advantage of Black creators. And recent revelations are proving that Lee Daniels might just be one of them. One Hollywood giant who previously exposed Daniels is comedian and actress Mo'Nique. The comedian recently opened up to The Hollywood Reporter about her recent resurgence on the big and small screens and the journey of forgiveness that has led to this fruitful new season of her life. It made dollars and cents, and for all those years, it just wasn't making sense, Mo'Nique said of her return to the business. Back then, I didn't feel a glow. I felt disappointed. I felt the same injustices and inequalities that all the Black women who came to Hollywood before me felt. Oftentimes, people call that anger. They call it bitterness. They call it unstable. They give it all these titles except what it really is. Mo'Nique has long been open about the fact that her retreat from Hollywood was initially prompted by a falling out she had with director Lee Daniels and the film studio Lionsgate when it came time to promote her Oscar-winning performance in 2009's Precious at the Cannes Film Festival. The actress refused to do so without additional pay. When informed that that was not quite how the promo machine worked, she respectfully declined, opting instead to spend some much-needed downtime with her husband and then 4-year-old twin sons. And that was a problem, she recalled. The problem of how could this fat Black woman say no to the powers that be in Hollywood? Co-producers Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry each made attempts to sway Mo'Nique into joining in the promotional run after the studio expressed displeasure with her decision, but to no avail. When asked why she didn't want to spend a glamorous weekend in France promoting the work she had poured her soul into for greater consideration by critics and awards committees, Mo'Nique laughed. As I explained to Oprah Winfrey, I said, "Oprah, I'm doing a talk show. I'm doing a comedy tour. I have a husband and I have babies. I have a little bit of downtime and I'm going to take advantage of it," she explained. "So I'm not going anywhere because I'm not obligated to go anywhere. I've done my part." So we mutually agreed to disagree. That was it. Next thing I know, I am considered difficult and hard to work with. Despite once describing each other as the best of friends, Monique and Daniels did not speak for another 13 years after this incident. But a chance behind-the-scenes encounter between Daniels and Monique's work on a low-budget cable thriller led the two to what the comedian calls a chapter of forgiveness. The celebrated film director revealed in 2021 that a disrespectful crew led to a major behind-the-scenes shakeup only 20 days into filming his Oscar-winning 2009 drama Precious, but those who were present disagree, claiming that Lee uses an iron fist to pass his agenda. During a reunion panel with lead actress Gaburi Sidibe at the 2021 Toronto International Film Festival, the director recalled that he didn't feel good about the film's dailies after 2 weeks of shooting and course-corrected shortly thereafter. I had a white line producer, a white AD. They also read reviews that said my last film, Shadowboxer, was the worst film ever made, and they had zero respect for me, my vision, or what it was. They were New Yorkers that looked at this as a job, Daniels said. I kept coming home like, this doesn't feel right, she doesn't look right, the set looks weird. I felt like I was giving birth to an alien, literally, so I did something that I now don't even know whether I'd have the courage to do, but I fired everybody. I shut it down. CDB appeared to wipe away tears as Daniels recalled the incident and chimed in to confirm that he cleared the crew after a mere 20 days on set. I was so nervous about making sure that she was lit beautifully. It didn't feel right, the director added. Whether we were going to take a financial hit because of it, I just blindly shut it down. It was a risk that ultimately paid off, as the film ended up grossing $64 million against a $10 million budget. Then, we got back with a new DP, Andrew Dunn, Daniels continued. I'd seen The Madness of King George, and I loved the way he shot it. I loved The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. He'd done that, and I asked him, I need your help because my DP is disrespectful. They were all white guys, just rude, disrespectful, really rude to what I wanted to do, not knowing I was going to shut it all down. Another person who has crossed paths with Daniels is Me Too founder Tarana Burke. Tarana previously revealed that she was deeply offended by the television and film executives' plan to create a comedy inspired by the movement. Back in 2018, Deadline reported Daniels and comedian Whitney Cummings had teamed up for a half-hour comedy series that was being developed at Amazon. The show, starring Cummings, revolves around the staff of the Ombudsman's office at a college that navigates PC culture and the #MeToo climate, according to the site. The lead character must reconcile the dissonance between different generations of feminism and the struggle to reconcile our primal desires and socially constructed identities with current ethical obligations regarding race, class, and gender. Burke, who founded the movement over 15 years ago, shared her reaction to the project with the New York Times. I just read something the other day that said Lee Daniels is making a Me Too comedy. The hair stood up on my arm. To put Me Too and comedy in the same sentence is so deeply offensive, and not because I'm uptight and I don't see comedy in things. We're not ready for a comedy, and it's just so offensive that you think in this moment when we're still unpacking the issue that you can write a comedy about it. And that's the type of thing I'm talking about. We have to get out in front of that. The activist also stressed the need for diverse writers' rooms within television, which would help prevent the movement from being misrepresented. That's exactly why it's important to get in the writers' rooms now and to connect with Hollywood now, before it gets to be such a catch-all phrase that they dilute its meaning, that we help people understand the gravity behind the words, and that it's not just used as, oh, look who got Me Too'd, ha-ha, like a punchline. Another celebrity who has called out Lee Daniels is Damon Dash. Back in 2018, Empire creator and director Lee Daniels and Damon Dash reached an agreement over a lawsuit about a proposed Richard Pryor biopic. The long-gestating project had been in development hell since around 2013, and Daniels was first attached as director in 2014. Dash accused the director of breaching their contract over the biopic, which the Def Jam co-founder was scheduled to work on as well, and sued him in 2018 for $5 million. The two reached a settlement that same year, but at the time, the details of the agreement they came to were unclear. In court documents acquired by The Blast, it was revealed that Daniels reportedly paid Dash $1.7 million through installments from November 2018 to January 2021. Dash also agreed to give up his co-executive producer credit if the Pryor film ever goes ahead, and as a result, he will no longer receive any royalties either. Dash had accused Daniels of stringing him along on the project, which at one point had Mike Epps attached to the star and Oprah Winfrey involved as a producer. The The last significant update given on the movie came in 2014, with the Weinstein Company involved in the production. Due to obvious reasons related to Harvey Weinstein, the future of the Pryor biopic remains uncertain. In a past Instagram post, Dash accused Daniels of borrowing $2 million. He shared a video of the two of them arguing, in which the director explained that he would repay him. He promised I would get my money back in months. Then he makes Precious and goes missing so he doesn't have to pay me, Dash wrote at the time. It's unclear if that unspecified $2 million loan had anything to do with the potential Pryor movie. Daniels has never really defended himself against the accusations leveled against him by Dash. "He believed in me when nobody else did," said Empire co-creator of Damon Dash, with a promise to settle the lawsuit against him. "I'm happy to give him his money back, even though the movie didn't make money." Daniels told TMZ in June 2018 of the $2 million investment he says Dash made in his movies when nobody, not Disney, not Sony, not TriStar, not Paramount, not Warner Bros., would put cash out after the Oscar-winning success of 2001's Monsters Ball. "He deserves his money, and so I'm going to work out something for him," Daniels added of the ongoing beef with Dash, who sued the film director before over the $2 million and even settled with him once before. "Because I am now in the position now to get it to him," the Star EP stated. "So I'm going to get it to him because I think that is the right thing to do." In addition to all this, Lee Daniels has also found himself caught in the crossfire with none other than 50 Cent. About 4 years ago, actor Jussie Smollett was accused of staging the now infamous attack against himself by the Chicago Police Department, and 50 Cent wondered if the actor's boss, Empire co-creator Lee Daniels, could also be guilty of being in on the alleged scheme. After Jussie filed a police report claiming he was attacked by two men who shouted racist and homophobic slurs, put a noose around his neck, and poured a chemical substance on him, the Empire creator posted an emotional video to Instagram defending the star. "You didn't deserve, nor does anybody deserve, to have a noose put around your neck, to have bleach thrown on you," Lee had said in the video shared days after the story broke out. 50 Cent later questioned Lee's intentions, asking the difficult question of whether it was filmed with genuine remorse. The rapper reposted the video to his Instagram, the same day Jussie was arrested and released on a $100,000 bond. The Indie Club hitmaker found it the perfect opportunity to promote his then-rivaling show, Power. "Power Season 6 coming soon," he wrote. While 50 Cent found humor in the situation, no laughs were cracked during the Chicago PD press conference when the case was being addressed. First, Jussie attempted to gain attention by sending a false letter that relied on racial and political language. The superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, Eddie Johnson, claimed at the press conference. When that didn't work, he paid $3,500 to stage this attack and drag Chicago's reputation through the mud in the process. The stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary on Fox's Empire. He concocted a story about being attacked. Just how awful was Lee Daniels paying him anyway? Another dissatisfied Emperor actor who has recently clashed head with Lee Daniels and his associates is the legendary Terrence Howard, who was one of the main actors in Lee's show.
What I was being paid, it's very interesting. It began, I was being paid $125 an episode. Taraji was being paid $90.
In early December this past year, Howard initiated a legal action against a prominent Hollywood talent agency. The NAACP award winner claims the agency failed to prioritize his best interests during his role on the successful Fox series Empire. Howard is suing the Creative Artists Agency LLC for breach of fiduciary duty, filing his claim in a Los Angeles Superior Court on Friday, December 9th. He asserts that the agency's dual representation of both him and the show's producer, Lee Daniels, created a conflict of interest. On the show, for 6 seasons, he played Lucius Lyons, a sinister music mogul whose empire was supported by his dysfunctional family. The show was one of the top shows on television from 2015 to 2020. The Cleveland native contends that he was deprived of the competitive compensation typically accorded to male leads of popular shows. Howard claims the agency neglected to advocate on his behalf for a salary commensurate with that of comparable white actors in the industry. He said at a press conference that he was never given accurate information from his agents regarding what salary he should expect in negotiations. CAA agents led him to believe that they were negotiating his contract in a way that would result in compensation comparable to figures like Kevin Spacey in House of Cards or Jon Hamm in Mad Men. Not only did it become abundantly clear that his agents led him on a path to rely on information that was misleading, he discovered that this was the result of the fact that CAA was not acting in his best interest, but in the interest of their own financial benefit, as well as the interest of the production companies and the producers Daniels and Strong, Howard's lawsuit says, according to Variety. CAA reportedly implemented package deals, bundling multiple clients' salaries without prioritizing Terrence Howard as a standalone star. This practice, involving talent agencies receiving packaging fees on TV series, was basically banned after a nearly 2-year battle led by the Writers Guild of America against Hollywood's major agencies. Under normal circumstances, the complaint continued, had CAA not been the packaging agent, and had CAA not been concurrently representing the production companies, where their sole financial interest would have been the 10% fee from the compensation received by Howard, they would have most certainly fought for Howard in a manner that most producers are accustomed to seeing CAA agents engage in. According to The Star, Empire at one point had as many viewers each week as another hit show with a predominantly white cast, Big Bang Theory. However, his pay was substantially less than that show's lead, Jim Parsons. I can't say for certain this was a racial issue, but I can't imagine another counterpart, a white counterpart, with the same accolades, name recognition, and numbers that I had, receiving the lowball pay that I was receiving, Howard said. The Best Man standout star said that he really didn't want to believe he was being jerked and also didn't want to be a proverbial squeaky wheel. I drank the Kool-Aid. I believed that I was going to get paid, or that I was getting compensated properly, but I wasn't, Howard noted. I just didn't want to piss off CAA and Fox. They're big companies to go to war against. He added he just could not stay quiet any longer. But sooner or later, you've got to stand up because they're just trampling over the rights of the artists, he added. Anyway, as for Bryshere Gray, things weren't always so bad for him. Gray shot to fame after landing the part of Hakeem Lyon in the critically acclaimed show Empire. He walked onto the Hollywood scene filled with career ambitions and was met with a world of varied possibilities. Back then, his captivating appearance also attracted a following of fans who were completely charmed by him.
Getting so much good advice. I got my first acting role, Empire, and it's changing my life.
Even so, there were allegations that he made roughly $20,000 per episode, which just added to the mystery surrounding him. In a way, back then, Bryshere was experiencing the fulfillment of his ambitions at the time. But, of course, as we know it, the era ended quickly as a string of scandals unfolded, other than the ones that involved his relationship with Will Smith. For one, his career took a turn for the worse as the consequences of his own actions grabbed center stage, and unfortunately, he was never able to get his career back on track. Gray was born on November 28, 1993, in the Germantown neighborhood of Philadelphia, and spent his childhood in the welcoming arms of West Philadelphia. After making his first appearance on stage, his budding interest in music blossomed into an unshakable connection to it. Not too many people know about this, but he worked part-time at Pizza Hut to help pay the bills throughout these crucial years. Remembering this time, he once told Vibe magazine how he wisely invested his first money in making a music video. On top of that, a constant promotional campaign on Facebook, lasting all day and night, was put together by him thanks to his persistent determination. Yet after being laid off, he found himself with a lot of spare time. So, he resolved to devote himself entirely to music production. Down the road, a person named Charlie Mack, who happened to know the star Will Smith, introduced both of them, and well, we know how at least that one goes. Yet, apart from what went down between the two in their private time, it also opened the door for him to try out for a role in the upcoming TV show. The decision makers were impressed, and he was flown out to Los Angeles for a proper audition. During this time, he made friends with stars Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard. He even addressed a group of high school kids and shared his experience of homelessness before landing the role on Empire. As per his various earlier interviews, he hoped to instill in them the confidence to follow their own aspirations. Yet, unexpectedly, he struggled with these concepts later in life. Anyway, the situation changed. Sure, he was successful, yet he still had issues and got into fights. Given even when everything seems to be going smoothly, life may become very confusing. According to reports, he uprooted to California and made a concerted effort to lead a quiet life there. He even stressed the need to maintain a singular focus on one's goals in an interview with the New York Times and expressed how he had trouble focusing on just one thing. But in June of 2019, he was detained by Chicago police. Unfortunately, his very expensive vehicle was discovered to have mismatched license plates and registration. They also found that he was operating a vehicle without either a valid license or insurance. Then again, something else occurred only 5 months later. He and another man spat on the floor of an Orlando, Florida store while they were shopping together. Seeing this, the employee on duty there called the cops, and well, once again, Bryshere knew where he was going to be spending the night. Though after the final episode of Empire aired, everything went downhill for him. An apartment owner in Chicago complained that Bryshere and his dog were quite destructive. In July 2020, after a tense few months, Bryshere also happened to have had a major altercation with a woman named Cand. According to her, an argument arose after she discovered his phone included messages from other women, where the situation escalated rapidly and the police were called. It took a dedicated team quite some time to finally lure him out of hiding so they could finally arrest him.
At this point, I'm asking you, I need your ID. Because she's alleging that you're the one. This is the reason why we came over here.
After I give you my ID.
We're going to identify who you are, and then we'll go from there.
Meanwhile, Bryshere found himself in the position of having to justify himself. He stated that he had a lot riding on his artistic career and that he had a lot to lose. But when the police questioned him if they were married, he responded that they were kind of like that, but that they also had a relationship in which they could be with other people. On top of that, he explained that because he was so occupied with his work, he had no problem with her having a lover. They only discovered afterward that they had actually tied the knot 9 months earlier, after the argument that they had. Candace then revealed to the authorities that Bryshere suffered from a disease known as bipolar illness in addition to ADHD, yet he was unwilling to take the prescribed medication for it. Moving on, in May of 2021, he admitted to having done something improper and was consequently sentenced to 3 years of probation and 10 days in a special jail. They warned him that if he did not abstain from specific activities and avoided getting into any further difficulty, he would not be able to avoid being sent back to jail. So, that settles that. After that, in October of 2022, he ran into even more difficulties. There was a brawl at his residence, but the specifics are unclear to us at this point, though the police were called. And then in November of 2022, a lady reported that she had been dating him in Arizona, but that he had begun behaving more poorly, and she feared for her safety as a result. After his probation officer reported these incidents to the judge ruled that he needed to spend more time in jail. Again, the complete situation regarding that remains unknown at the moment. So whether or not Bryshere will ever have a shot at his career, one thing is clear. His turning for the worse started the day he began his associations with these Hollywood elites. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.